The unexpected proposal. The sigh that escaped Hazel Evans' lips was her nth of the evening, each one heavier than the last. She took another sip of water, the ice cubes clinking softly against the crystal glass as her eyes swept across the opulent restaurant. All around her, the city's elite dined under the warm glow of chandeliers, their laughter and conversation creating a sophisticated hum that only emphasized her solitude. 20 minutes late, and still no sign of her date. A sudden chill crept up her spine, making her regret the black dress that hugged her curves, but offered little protection against the restaurant's aggressive air conditioning. She tugged at the hem, trying to coax it further down her thighs, but the stubborn fabric immediately rode back up. What had her friend called it? Man bait. Hazel rolled her eyes at the memory. This was her 10th blind date arranged through that ridiculous app promising to deliver your potential future partner. As if an algorithm could successfully play matchmaker. Glancing at her watch, she made a decision. 15 more minutes, then she was leaving. She never would have agreed to this if not for her friend's irresistible puppy eyes and relentless persuasion. And so here she was, uncomfortable and increasingly irritated, waiting for a stranger who couldn't even be punctual. "You must be Hazel Evans." The deep, husky voice startled her from her thoughts. She turned to find a man standing beside her table, his presence both sudden and commanding. Her eyes widened slightly as she took in his appearance. He was dressed in a grey hoodie, black jeans, and a bucket hat pulled low over his forehead. A black mask covered the lower half of his face. His attire was jarringly casual against the backdrop of white tablecloths and crystal stemware. Is he serious? She thought, incredulous that anyone would show up to a date at a place like this. Dressed for a convenience store run. "Yes, I am," she replied, unable to keep a note of disappointment from her voice. The man nodded and casually walked around the table, dropping into the chair opposite her with an air of complete nonchalance, as if he owned the place. "I'm Austin Roberts," he said, pulling his mask down to reveal his face. His eyes crinkled at the corners as he smiled, a devastatingly charming smile that Hazel instantly recognized. The blood drained from her face. Her mouth fell slightly open as she stared at him, unable to process what was happening. The sharp eyes, the straight nose, the perfectly sculpted lips, they were exactly as they appeared on screen. Dark hair peeked out from beneath his bucket hat, giving him an almost boyish appearance that contrasted with his undeniable star power. "Austin Roberts," she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, Austin Roberts," he confirmed with that same disarming smile. Austin Roberts, the 29-year-old superstar whose films grossed millions, the nation's heartthrob who had been an unstoppable force since his debut at 23. The golden actor whose movies were guaranteed blockbusters. The good boy every parent wanted for their daughter, and, if rumors were to be believed, the bad boy who could drive women wild. That Austin Roberts was sitting across from her in a restaurant on a blind date arranged through an app. "Sorry for being late," he continued, apparently oblivious to her shock. "Had rehearsal to attend and then got caught in traffic." Hazel barely registered his words. Her mind was racing with questions. Why would someone like him, famous, undeniably handsome and wealthy beyond imagination, need a dating app? Couldn't he date any actress or model he wanted with a snap of his fingers? "Hazel," his voice cut through her daze. "Yeah," she replied, feeling heat rise to her cheeks at being caught lost in her thoughts. "I asked what you'd like to order," he repeated, a hint of amusement in his tone. Only then did she notice the waiter standing patiently beside their table, looking at her expectantly. "I'm having steak, by the way," Austin added. I'll have the same," she stammered, still struggling to compose herself. As the waiter departed with their orders, Austin turned his full attention to her. His gaze traveled from her face to her exposed shoulder, lingering on the small scar visible on her collarbone. Hazel squirmed under his scrutiny, feeling both seen and invaded. "So, Hazel," he began, his tone conversational, "why did you choose to date a random person through an app?" She found her voice and her courage. "I could ask you the same question," she replied. "You're an actor, after all. What if I tell you that I don't really have any interest in people of my class?" he asked, leaning back in his chair and folding his arms across his chest. One eyebrow arched in challenge, his posture radiating confidence that bordered on intimidation. The bucket hat shadowed much of his face, clearly a precaution against being recognized. "I wouldn't believe you," she replied honestly, earning a low chuckle from him. Their dinner arrived, temporarily breaking the tension that had settled between them. They ate in relative silence, with Hazel occasionally stealing glances at Austin, only to find him already watching her. Unlike most people caught staring, he never looked away when their eyes met. His confidence was unnerving. As they finished their meal, Austin set down his napkin with deliberate slowness. "I have a proposal for you," he said, his tone shifting to something more serious. "Proposal," Hazel repeated, confused. "Marriage proposal," he stated bluntly, pulling out his phone. "Excuse me?" She was certain she had misheard him. "I have a marriage proposal for you," he repeated, scrolling through something on his phone without looking up. "You'll sign the papers tomorrow. I'll send my men to your place." "Are you out of your mind?" Hazel frowned, her initial awe giving way to indignation. "Who proposes marriage on a first date?" "Hazel Evans, 23 years old," Austin read from his phone, ignoring her question. "Graduated a week ago in California. Orphan who left the orphanage at 18 for your studies. Contemporary dancer." He looked up, meeting her shocked expression with cool detachment. "What? How did you—" "I have my ways," he shrugged, an arrogantly handsome smirk playing on his lips. "As I said, I have a marriage proposal for you. You need to sign it tomorrow." Hazel was beyond shocked. The man knew details about her life that she hadn't shared with anyone casually. It was unsettling. "What are you talking about? Who do you think you are to force me into this ridiculous marriage? We just met. And that's enough for me to decide I want you as my wife," Austin interrupted, his arrogance a stark contrast to the charming persona he projected in the media. "I'm not doing any of this," she insisted, growing more annoyed by the minute. Celebrity or not, he couldn't just buy people. "I'll be paying you for this," Austin said, lowering his voice. "The orphanage you lived in needs financial help. I can provide that." Hazel frowned. The man knew even more than she thought. "Why?" she demanded. Austin sighed dramatically, rolling his eyes. "You ask too many questions." "Excuse me, but no one asked their date to marry them during their first date," she countered. "Fair point," Austin conceded. "Long story short, my grandparents are pressuring me to get married and I don't want to, so you'll marry me, but just on paper. I'll look after your needs and the orphanage's well-being. You have nothing to lose. Just be married to me for 3 years, then we go our separate ways." Hazel sat in stunned silence, processing the outrageous yet strangely tempting offer before her. A contract marriage to a superstar, with financial security for herself and support for the orphanage she cared about. It was absurd, yet she couldn't immediately dismiss it. "So, is that a yes?" Austin prompted, watching her with those intense eyes. "I need time," she replied, her mind whirling with possibilities she never could have imagined when she walked into the restaurant that evening. As their eyes locked across the table, Hazel realized her life stood at a crossroads. Whatever, she decided, nothing would ever be the same again.